Alright, so I was about to upload this video, and then the Devils made a trade for Ryan Graves. I believe it's the 2021 second rounder and Mikhail Maltsev for Ryan Graves. And now, I talked about they needed a defenseman. This is the defenseman I was talking about. This video was made, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday. I meant to upload it Tuesday, but I uploaded the Predators one instead. I didn't mean to do that. It is what it is. But this gives me some time to do that, and I think probably sometime this weekend I'll make a video about Pecorino, like a really short one. But yeah, so the Devils made a trade for Mikhail Maltsev. No, they traded Mikhail Maltsev for Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves is a great young defenseman. I really liked what he did in Colorado the last couple of years. I think his last 2 years, especially last year, he was real good. Um, they did that instead of losing him to the expansion draft for nothing. So that's a defenseman the Devils will have to protect. So now I might think that they go with a 4-4 method. So we'll find out. Otherwise, enjoy the video. All right, so I got two videos to make. This one's gonna be the shorter one, so I'm gonna do it first. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my first hockey video in over a year. I think we're gonna do a Devils postseason, off-season, preseason review. Um, I have not done a Devils video in probably 2 years or so, maybe even longer than that. I'm gonna do a Preds one later, but basically what we're gonna go over is we're gonna do a postseason review, kind of give my thoughts on what I thought of the Devils last season. We're gonna do an expansion draft preview, kind of figure out who should they protect, who should they give up, should they make any trades to do so, to protect certain players. We're going to do an entry draft preview. Who should the Devils draft this season, at least with their first pick? Their second pick is a little bit more up in the air, not that the first pick isn't. Then we're going to do a free agency slash trade market preview. Should the Devils sign anyone? Should they make trades for someone? And finally, the preseason review. We're going to see what kind of expectations do I have for the Devils for next season. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so after last season, which was a COVID-riddled season for the team. It was just an absolute mess for the team. They started off pretty okay. I think they started off 6-3-2, if I remember correctly, which is solid. They were playing some pretty good offense. They were playing decent defense. I think everyone took a step last year, especially Miles Wood. But it was not a great season for the Devils. They got a little better. Jack Hughes took a good step. Yegor Sharangovich looked really good last year. Miles Wood looked incredible last year. The fourth line actually were pretty decent. There's with Nathan Bastian, Miles Wood, and Michael McLeod. Brott looked okay last year. Pavel Zacha took a couple steps last year. The team's starting to get some good chemistry. I think. Well, and then Nico Hischier was injured for most of the year, if I remember correctly. I think there might have been a visa issue at the beginning of the season. I don't remember. But he wasn't with the team for most of the year. So we mostly saw a captainless Devils team. And when Nico Hischier did play, I mean, he was fine last season. I had low expectations going into the season, and then they were significantly higher, especially after watching what the Preds were the first half of the season until the COVID break, and then after they got back from the COVID, not the break, but the COVID, I guess it was a break. They just did not look the same. They were not the same team that started the year. So hopefully this year or this upcoming year won't be riddled with something like that. Like I said, I was really impressed with Miles Wood this year. I think if he can finish just a little bit more, I think he's almost there. He was really good. I think he led the team in goals. Our defense looked okay last year. Ty Smith was a very pleasant surprise. My brother actually called him being good. He was very good this season. I think he was fifth or sixth in the Calder voting. I think he looked spectacular this season. Damon Severson was decent. Jonas Siegenthaler, when he joined the team, when he was on, he was okay. And I actually really liked the addition of Ryan Murray to the team last year, but we'll get to him later because he's a UFA this year. There's not much to say about last season. They just weren't great. They weren't good, actually. Is probably the better thing to say. They would blow leads a lot. They definitely need to get better defensively, and I think they needed more scoring. I think Mackenzie Blackwood did the best he could. Same with Wedgwood, who they signed again. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the postseason review. Is that they were not great last year, and there's a lot of things they need to improve on. A lot of players took steps in the right direction, which is good. And sort of team chemistry. But they're not quite there yet, but they'll get there. So next up is the expansion draft preview. I haven't looked much into the Devils, to be honest, for the expansion draft. There's a couple players that I would love to see stay, namely Miles Wood, because he was in a lot of trade talks during the trade deadline last season, and I didn't think they were going to move him because of how well he's been playing. But at the same time, he's always going to be there as that trade chip. He might get moved this year. I hope he doesn't. But, he might get moved to the team. They might not protect him, but I hope they do. I think they do. And I think that's about where we should start. I think it's obvious that they're going to protect Nico Hischier. I don't know exactly if Jack Hughes is exempt. I believe he is because he's on his ELC still. So I believe he's still exempt. I think this is the last year of his ELC. Realistically, who do I want the Devils to protect? This is a real question. And who do I think they're going to protect? Now, obviously, I want them to protect other players that they may not protect, but we'll go through the list. I think what they should do the 7-3 scheme, if I'm being honest, because I think they have more valuable forwards than they do have valuable defensemen, especially since some of their defensemen are on their ELC or going to be RFAs by the end of the season. So the big thing, obviously you start off, like I said, Nico Hischier, you protect him, you protect Miles Wood, Jesper Bratt, Pavel Zacha. I have an issue with them trying to protect Andreas Janssen because I was not impressed with him this past season. Maybe it was COVID related. I hope so. So that was poorly worded. I don't hope Andreas Janssen was bad last year because of COVID. I hope it's not a long-term injury thing is really what I meant to say. I hope COVID didn't mess him up. In the long run. I would never wish that upon anyone. That was poorly worded, and I'm sorry. I did not think he was very good this year. I think you protect... I don't know who's eligible. I probably should have looked at that before I started this video, but if you can, McLeod, Sharangovich, Kuokkanen as your 7. And then as your last 3 defensemen, you protect Severson, you protect Butcher, and you protect... Because they just signed Siegenthaler. I have a hard time trying to protect Subban because he's not been great in Jersey. I think the Predators did a good job in trading him before his trade value went down. Not that they got a lot for him, And I've looked at a couple of the different draft the boards saying that they should give up PK Subban. That'd be great for Seattle because of his personality, and I agree full-heartedly with that. But I don't think you protect him, if I'm being completely honest with you. If you're the Devils, Butcher and Severson are. You can either protect Butcher or Subban. I don't think you can protect both. Butcher did not play very much last year, and I didn't really understand why. I like Will Butcher. I think he's decent. I think he's a pretty decent player. He's definitely got a better offensive upside. And I think he could come in and fill the shoes of what Subban has done in New Jersey. Now him in Montreal, him in Nashville, at least the first season. Will Butcher can't do that. But what Subban's been doing as a New Jersey Devil, I think Will Butcher could come in and easily replace him. He's okay defensively. I think he's offensive upside. We really haven't gotten to see all that much of him recently, which is really where you need to analyze things. I mean, he was fine in his first season with the Devils, his first couple seasons with the Devils, but I personally would protect Butcher over Subban. I understand if you protect Subban over Butcher. With that being said, as someone I wouldn't mind losing, Butcher and Subban are probably up there. They provide some offense. They're not amazing at defense. I know Subban has some upside on defense. I don't think Will Butcher has as much. I know Subban's a penalty killer. He can play on the power play. He's got a heck of a shot. Maybe I've just talked myself into protecting Subban. I don't know. That $9 million is a lot. They might work out a trade with Seattle, to maybe retain some salary if they get him. Maybe they'll do a trade for Subban or something later on. I don't know. But if I'm Seattle, I take either Will Butcher or Subban, whoever's whoever's left open during the expansion draft. And obviously, you protect Blackwood. I mean, I know they just re-signed Scott Wedgwood, but Blackwood is the future, and that's who you want to protect. The next is the entry draft preview. Right now, the Devils. This is from mynhldraft.com. The Devils are getting, according to this, it looks like they would be getting right winger Dylan Guenther. He's 6'1", 175 pounds. He's a right winger from the Edmonton Oil Kings, I believe they're called, in the WHL. It's hard to gauge prospects this year, and I think everyone knows that. So I don't know much about any of the prospects. I don't know if that kid's good or not. I can tell you who I want. I want Luke Hughes, if he's available. And then a lot of people are expecting, since Owen Power might go back to college next year, that he might fall down a couple draft picks if Buffalo doesn't take him. Because if I'm Buffalo, I want someone who can play for my team next season, or this upcoming season. And if Owen Power is not willing to do that and he plans on going back to college, I don't see a reason to pick him at first overall. And he might be saying that just to get out of Buffalo. It's very likely. I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? But if Owen Power is still available at number 4, obviously you take him. If Luke Hughes is still available at number 4, I think you take him. That's who I want. I want Luke Hughes. I think it's kind of built-in chemistry with Luke and Jack. I know they don't play the same position, but I think that could help on the power play. Maybe have Luke. This is a little bit down the road, but maybe have Luke Hughes be the quarterback on the power play. That's some built-in chemistry right there. I like Hugh. I just like that. It's kind of like a Sedin type thing, having Luke and Jack on the same team. That'd be pretty cool. But honestly, I don't really know much about any of the prospects this year. So whoever the Devils take is who they take, in my opinion. With their second pick this season, because they have the Islanders' second pick, or the first round pick from the Palmieri Zajac trade. It says that they have Sean Barnes, who is a 5'9" left-handed defenseman from the U.S. national team, the national development program. I don't know. It's all up in the air. I don't think many people know about the draft this year, unless, obviously that's your specialty. Then you've been watching them for the past couple of years. You know what they're capable of. But that's who I want, personally. I want Luke Hughes. But that's just me. The trade market and free agency, it's interesting. I don't remember if Johnny Gaudreau, and this is it. If the Devils can get Johnny Gaudreau, I think they're set on offense. I think Jack or Nico need a bona fide winger that we know can score in the NHL. Now I know Johnny Gaudreau's having a couple down years. By down years, I mean comparatively. Last year, he led the Flames 19 goals, 49 points in 56 games. I believe he played 56 games. But, I mean, that would be great on the Devils. He's not reaching the level that I think they want him to in Calgary, but I would be perfectly okay with on the Devils. Let me check real quick to see both what his cap hit is and what his numbers have been, and see if he's a free agent. Johnny Gaudreau, I mean, he's a smaller guy. He's a left-handed shot. Okay, so I believe July 28th of this year, his modified no-trade clause kicks in. So if the Flames are going to get rid of him, they might as well get rid of him now. So he'll have 1 year left on his deal with a modified no-trade clause, and he's coming in at $6.75 million a year. If they lose someone like PK Subban, they can completely afford to do it. I think this is more of an entry draft night trade with Calgary. What do they give up? Probably a first-round pick, one of their first-rounders, maybe the Islanders' first-round pick, and I don't know, probably a prospect. That's probably what they have to give up for Gaudreau. A first and a prospect, and who do you give up here? Nolan Foote, maybe. Who did play this season a little bit. You give up Nolan Foote, Nathan Bastian, someone they can give up. I don't think you give up Alex Holtz or Tice Thompson or Dawson Mercer. So, yeah, I think maybe Foote, who the Devils didn't draft. They got him in a trade, the Coleman trade. And he's going to have a lot of upside. He might even make the team this year if he doesn't get traded. But I think if you do that and then you get Gaudreau to extend for maybe 4 or 5 years, I think he's a good piece there on the first or second line who can score. As for defense, obviously, I would be thrilled if they went out, and I think they'd have to get him in a trade as well, unless they waited till free agency. For Seth Jones, I think Seth Jones would be awesome as a New Jersey Devil. obviously, they have cap. I don't know how close they'll be this upcoming season. I can tell you what they're at right now. They have 35 million projected cap space to spend this season. They got to re-sign Nick Merkley, Michael McLeod, Yanni Kuokkanen, especially Kuokkanen, and Sharon Govich. They got to re-sign all of those guys, especially Sharon Govich and Kuokkanen. They were fantastic at the beginning of the year. But they definitely re-sign them. They're all RFAs, though, so that shouldn't be too bad. I don't know if you re-signed Ryan Murray. I don't know how much he made last year. I think he was pretty low. I think it was like a couple million. He made... Yeah, okay, so yeah, he made $4.6 million last year. He might drop to maybe $3-4 million if you're lucky. And they don't really have to worry about signing anyone else. Outside of or in their NHL on their NHL team, they have to re-sign Ben Street, Brendan Gignac, AJ Greer. No, I don't think they re-signed Greer. Brett Seney, Studnich, and Mason Jobst. But I think actually, you know what? I think they do have the cap space to do that, especially if they get rid of the $9 million that Subban has. That opens up even more cap space. I mean, they could sign Seth Jones, but I think Seth Jones wants to go to a winning team. And he might get traded and sign with that team, do a sign and trade. So who knows? But going out and getting a solid defensive defenseman, as well as maybe a power play quarterback, unless you have Ty Smith to step up there. And if they don't take PK Subban, or if they protect PK Subban, they might be okay. But if they don't protect Subban and Seattle takes him, then I think a power play quarterback and a defensive defenseman are something that they need. I'm not entirely sure who's out on the free agency market. I'd have to look. I definitely think they should try to trade for Johnny Gaudreau. That's something I definitely think they need to do. They need scoring, and Johnny Gaudreau, I think, can do it, especially on Nico Hischier's wing. And finally, the preseason preview. What do I expect for next season? I don't. I expect very little from this team next season. I don't know. It's just something about this team. I think they're going to take a step in the right direction. If they can get Johnny Gaudreau in a trade, if they can sign maybe the defenseman or two, and I know if they just re-sign Siegenthaler, I think they're going to take a step in the right direction. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, the Metropolitan is just so top-heavy. They got the Rangers, who might get Jack Eichel this season. They got the Islanders, who are probably going to get some scoring this season. They might even be on Johnny Gaudreau, for all I know. And Vladimir Tarasenko is definitely an option for them. Oh, wow. Can you imagine? Then they got the Capitals, the Penguins, the Flyers, who, though they had a bad season last year, I don't think they're going to have that same bad season this year. I mean, they got a tough road ahead of them. I mean, Columbus, I know they're not as good as they used to be, but they're not a pushover. I mean, so I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next year. I don't expect them to do much. I expect them to be at least a little bit more competitive and not lose as much. I would like if they surprised me and competed for a playoff spot and missed it barely, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll probably be bottom 3 in the division. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What do you guys think the Devils are going to do this season? What do you guys think? Who do you think they're going to take in the expansion draft? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.